Hi everyone, taking a look today at more footage that was shot during AusArmourFest 2024, and this is the Australian Armour and Artillery Museum's example of the Panzer III Ausf J. Now, it was only after March 1935 that Germany started to openly develop armoured vehicles, an activity that had been prohibited under the terms of the Treaty of Versailles that had ended World War I. Despite this, Germany had already been covertly developing and making Panzer I and Panzer II tanks with the cooperation of the Soviet Union, and these were armoured vehicles that would be suitable for training crews, developing tactics and equipping the early German tank divisions. Now, knowing that a more capable vehicle for engaging enemy tanks was required, specifications for a tank to equip medium tank companies were laid down. Heavy companies in tank divisions would be equipped with the Panzer IV, which was to accompany these medium tanks and deal with fixed emplacements and obstructions. But for the medium tank, specifications included a main anti-tank gun with a calibre of 5 centimetres that could compete with British 2-pounder or 40mm guns and the Russian 45mm anti-tank gun. There would be provision for twin machine guns in the turret and a gross weight that was compatible with the contemporary German 24-ton bridge load limit. A distinctive feature of this medium tank, which was influenced by British tank designs, was to use a 3-man turret. This meant that the commander could focus on commanding the tank, maintaining situational awareness, coordinating with other vehicles and identifying future targets. Most tanks at the time did not have this capability, and it provided German armour with an operational advantage that could overcome shortfalls in other areas of their designs. Now, to develop prototypes of this medium tank, Daimler-Benz, Krupp, MAN and Rheinmetall were all engaged, with Daimler-Benz ultimately being selected as the lead contractor following trials that were conducted in 1936 and 1937. Early marks of the tank from Ausf A through E were prototypes that worked through various suspension concepts such as coil springs, leaf springs and torsion bars. By Ausf E, the familiar 6 double road wheels per side mounted on arms connected to torsion bars with a rear-mounted engine and a front transmission and final drive was settled on as the chassis design. Early marks through to Ausf G used the already available 3.7cm Kampfwagenkanone 36 L56 main gun that was derived from the carriage-mounted gun equipping anti-tank units. The chassis and turret were designed, however, to be capable of being upgraded to use an in-development 5cm anti-tank gun. Now, the first mass-manufactured variants, Ausf E and F, did not start production until December 1938 and August 1939 respectively. And this was the reason why many early war German medium tank companies were equipped with Panzer I and IIs and Czech-derived Panzer 35T and 38T tanks. Following the Battle of France, when the shortcomings of the 3.7cm anti-tank guns became more apparent, later versions of the Ausf F and G started to be fitted with the first 5cm Kampfwagenkanone, at which point the turret also began to be fitted with a single coaxial MG34. And so we arrive here at the Ausf J, which is the example here at the museum, that mounted a 5cm Kampfwagenkanone 38 L42 gun, which was made by Rheinmetall. Now, the Panzer III across all models was produced from 1939 through to 1943, with the Ausf M and N being the last models produced. By 1943, the tank was declared obsolescent and a total of 5,774 had been made. Early models of the Panzer III, the Ausf A through D, were really development prototypes, and manufacturing of these was overseen by Daimler-Benz. The Ausf E was the first production series and was made by Daimler-Benz, Henschel, MAN, and they built 96 of these vehicles starting in October 1938. The following Ausf F was largely an unmodified version of the Ausf E, and 435 of these were made by Daimler-Benz, MAN, Famo, Henschel, Miag, and Elket between August 1939 and May 1941. And towards the end of the Ausf F production was when the 5cm Kampfwagenkanone 38 was first fitted. By the time we get to this Ausf J, and by the time that entered production in March of 1941, this shorter of the 5cm guns had already been the standard main armament, and the longer 5cm main gun started to become available in December 1941. Now, production of the Ausf J ran until July 1942, and more than 2,600 of these were made in total. So this example here at the museum is one of the earlier Ausf J, and so it's fitted with the 5cm Kampfwagenkanone 38 L42 gun. This was the shorter of the two 5cm guns that were mounted to the Panzer III. There's also both one coaxial and a hull-mounted MG34. Now, this main gun had a few different armor-piercing rounds available. The standard Panzergranate rounds could penetrate 32mm of angled armor at 1,000 meters of range, while the Panzergranate 39 ballistic capped round could penetrate 37mm of armor at the same range. The more capable Panzergranate 40 armor-piercing composite rigid round could penetrate 55mm of armor at 500 meters range, but was ineffective at 1,000 meters due to its reliance on high velocities to do its job. The Ausf J later got the longer Kampfwagenkanone 39 L60 guns that produced high muzzle velocities of about 12 to 20%, depending on the ammunition that was being used. And these 5cm guns gave the Ausf J more punch than the earlier Panzer IIIs that had been fitted with the 3.7cm Kampfwagenkanone 36, but they were still not able to effectively deal with Russian T-34 and KV tanks that were encountered on the Eastern Front. A total of 1,549 units were built with the shorter L42 gun, like the one that's mounted on this example, and eventually the Panzer III Ausf N would be fitted with a short-barrelled 7.5cm Kampfwagenkanone 37 that would be used to provide fire support for Tiger I tanks in the German Heavy Tank Battalion. So armour on the Ausf J at the hull front was 50mm, and that had been upgraded over the 30mm thickness that was in the original Ausf E. The turret also had 30mm of armour all round, though the mantlet had a thickness of 50mm, and from 1941 additional armour plates were added internally to the turret front, increasing armour thickness to 57mm in places. Now the engine of this vehicle was the Maybach HL120TR petrol engine, a V12 developing 220 kilowatts. It could move the 21.6 tonne weight of the Ausf J along at a maximum speed of 40 kph. From the Ausf E onwards, the tank used the 6 double road wheels per side on torsion bars, with front and rear suspension arms damped, and this type of suspension would remain for the life of the vehicle. The Ausf J came with wider 38cm tracks that had been introduced on the Ausf H, along with redesigned drive sprockets and elevator wheels to help deal with the weight increase that came from the 5cm main gun. Panzer III units were employed during the occupation of Czechoslovakia in March 1939, and later that year during the invasion of Poland in small numbers. Roughly 87 units were available, and it was used in France in 1940. And in 1941 it was involved in actions in the Balkans, Greece, Russia and North Africa, with the Ausf J entering service that year. And by the middle of 1943, at the Battle of Kursk, it had largely been relegated to the role of being an escort and support tank rather than a main tank. So that's everything I want to say about the Panzer III Ausf J. I want to thank you for getting to the end of the video and listening to me bang on about this armoured vehicle. I look forward to talking to you soon about another tank or artillery piece, and until then I hope you stay well and we'll talk soon. Bye.